How am I trauma dumping when you're my friend? Who am I supposed to dump at?
Who am I supposed to speak to?
What am I, like, okay, so how do I know what to talk about and what not to talk about? Like, what do you mean?
Somebody said being lukewarm is not just for the people who are in the world and in the church.
Yeah.
It's also for the people who are in the church, but are only close enough to God to make themselves feel better.
Whoa. Whoa. And at the end of the episode, you're gonna like feel a step closer to healing. An affordable form of therapy. Welcome. Like, I'm so glad that like we're finally doing it. We're literally like giggling right now. Like, that's how excited it is. You know when something finally makes it out of WhatsApp, because y'all, we have been talking about this for 7 years.
Literally, and we can't even say WhatsApp group because we're just 2 people.
Bruh.
But you know what? We're here, so
listen,
I'm happy. So
I'm also so happy.
I think knowing that this is the first official podcast, it's only the right thing to do to introduce ourselves.
Exactly. And introduce the podcast. I think it's important for you guys to kind of like get a glimpse of what to expect from us.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and start to break the ice. I think firstly, like for myself, right, like it's when someone asks me like, introduce yourself or who are you, I swear to God, I always run away from like saying my name and my surname and where I stay and what I do, because I don't know, I think a part of me just has always kind of run away from that side, because it's always either something I'm still healing from or not yet comfortable with. So I think I genuinely believe in my heart of hearts that who I am has nothing to do with my CV. Okay.
Yeah.
But everything's to do with my heart. So my name is Tamia. Untigi, exactly. And firstly, I'm a simple girl. And I think one thing about me that I'm very sure of myself is that like I have good intentions. I'm a good girl. I am so chilled. If there's anyone, like, if you have issues with me, you're the problem.
You're the problem, Sana.
Listen, because I'm such a chilled hun, and like I'm a Jesus girly above everything else, and I guess a little bit of my resume. I'm an accounting graduate. I went to the University of Witwatersrand. I'm a serial entrepreneur. The CEO of Doltema, because that is one of the known businesses I do run, amongst others. What about you, Tamia? Introduce yourself.
I'm going to start with the CV, then circle back to who I am, just to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
I am a UJ 3-time graduate.
Girl.
I just, I'm currently waiting for my results for my dissertation. And because I know God got me, like, I'm not even going to stress about it. I am an industrial psychologist in training. Most people don't know what that is, but it's actually a thing. I'm associated with one of the biggest banks, and I'm currently working as an HR consultant. I am an entrepreneur, and I am a child of God.
Listen.
And that's on declaration, darling.
Listen. I love it.
Above and beyond that, to be honest, Tamia will definitely disagree with some of the things I'm about to say. But I am those people who are 1000% terrible, right? But hear me out. That has brought so much beauty in me, because like I feel that I have become a person who sees people for who they are. I see people beyond their weaknesses, beyond whatever facade they decide to show the entire world. I think that's also why I'm in psychology, because I am a person who looks deeper, I think that another thing, I'm a choir leader, and I'm very passionate about worship.
She's not a choir leader, y'all, a minister.
I am a worshiper, darling.
Listen. She will usher you to the altar to the throne.
Where you're supposed to be.
Listen.
So yeah, that's just a couple of things about me. But I feel like we'll just get to know each other along the way. Because also one of the reasons why I wanted us to start this so deep within my heart. Like, guys, we don't have time to journal on our books every single day. You know,
listen, honestly, like for me, this is a good excuse to get to like talk with you once a week at least without feeling bad about it. Like I look forward to having these conversations because I know that they're gonna be healing for me.
1000%. Especially since I feel like we've transitioned so fast from being kids to adults with responsibilities, and like processing the world around you is like an important thing. Like there's so much change that's happening, right? And I'm like, why not just add a podcast to the chaos, you know?
Listen, this is just to sort of like ground everything. We are deep people. Like if there's one thing about me and you, like we are very deep. And there's so many conversations that we would have. And I would literally just think to myself, like, no, say to you that like, I feel so bad to the people who do not get to experience this because I learn so much from you. I grow so much from the conversations that we have. And I think I would love, I'm excited about this being a platform for us to actually just express ourselves and to let the people who we are with each other live outside of us. Because you bring out the best of me.
You bring out the most amazing in me, guys. And I think just looking at some of the topics we're going to explore, you know, like the scam of self-help.
Exactly. That's a topic for next week, by the way. Y'all need to be, y'all are not ready.
Like literally acting your age.
Ooh, that's also coming up. I'm actually so excited. Like just thinking about it, I'm so excited.
Right?
Yeah.
It's all these things, you know, that we actually want to speak about, that we feel like, you know, there's so many times when I'm going through something and I'm like looking on YouTube and I'm like, I really just want to hear people speak about it. And it's not there because I feel like, you know, the topic today, what this is and what this is not, you know, like so many people are like chasing topics that are hot at the moment, you know, it runs away from reality.
True.
You know?
Well, true. I think very important for us to actually do, right? Let's define what this is. Like what is Unravel? And most importantly, what it's not.
Yeah. What is Unravel for you? Tell us.
For me, like Unravel is my ministry. Like I genuinely feel like I was called to experience God and openly share my experience with him. And although I may not know what exactly that looks like, but right now this feels like it.
1000%.
Yeah. What is Unravel to you?
Unravel is making sense of God's truth, right? So what that means for me is, like, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm going through this world and I feel like I need answers, you know, and I don't have the answers. And unraveling is basically just coming to a true understanding of what God says about me, what God says about the world, you know. And we're literally unraveling. So it's the good, it's the bad, it's the rawness. It's the I'm coming here to expose myself for the sake of somebody else, you know.
For real.
And I think that's what is so big about this, because I feel like I'm not a person who's gonna lay my laundry out there like, I got a lot of laundry.
I think that was like one of my biggest fears coming into this, because I feel like I'm not someone who like, I'm not an open person, y'all. It's hard to go low key, okay?
Under
the covers, okay? And I think this is really gonna be interesting how it pans out. I think I'm open in what I believe and like where my heart is at, but I'm not so open about my business. So I think navigating these conversations and really like finding a way to be open and honest and deep without necessarily, you know, putting myself in compromising situations.
Yeah, you guys judge, you guys.
Listen,
like honestly.
Yeah.
And I think the beauty about platforms like this and speaking what's inside you, right? It makes people feel like they're not alone.
Yeah,
you know?
true.
So for example, like there's somebody who's probably struggling with, let me think of something from the top of my head, you know, jealousy.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe you're a Christian girly and you don't want to feel like that, and you're stuck in comparison. And you feel like you're the only one because you read the Bible and the Bible's condemning jealousy. You're on TikTok, you hear people say, oh, jealous people will never succeed. Imagine that time you're contending for your life, you're trying to get out of that. There's so many types of things that people are inside, and because they can't be vocalized, you know, they feel like they're alone, and the devil traps you in your mind there.
So true.
And so that's what this platform is for me, like to actually normalize having the conversations about it, because I feel like there's so much condemnation, especially that comes with being Christian. Like, hear me out. Being rebuked is important. For growth, it's important for you to become a better person. But you rebuke the sin, not the person.
Yeah, facts.
And when I realized that, I came to the understanding, like, I personally had been doing it wrong. I was rebuking the person and saying the person was the sin. And like, it's getting to a point where it's like, I think this platform also just, it shows, like, guys, we shouldn't put so much, I don't know, so much power over our weaknesses, you know, and so much power of what we think about ourselves. At some point, we need to get to the understanding of, like, actually, what does God say about me? Shab, I hear Guti Umakelwane is saying 1, 2, 3 about me, you know, but that's not who I am. So yeah.
Love it. I absolutely love it. And I 100% back that, whatever she said, Joe. Like, we said what this is and what this is not.
Yeah.
Let's get to what is this definitely not?
I think it's not cloud chasing.
Oh.
No, like, literally, like, in my head, right?
Yeah.
I would rather have one person listen to the conversation and take something away than 10,000 people watch it and, like, nothing happens. Like, you're not unraveling. You're not joining the community of women who are saying, women and men, you know?
Yeah, we see y'all.
You know, and you just get to a point where it's like, okay, sharp, like, I actually want to unravel myself.
Yeah.
What is it not for you?
I guess it's definitely not vague. It's not shallow. Like, this is deep. I think if you're someone whose head starts to hurt when like serious conversations come up, then yeah, you need to leave the chat, because we are about to go really deep. I think this is literally like making sense of God's truth. Like, this, it has nothing to do with what's happening on the news. It has nothing to do with what's hot right now, or, you know, just talking for the sake of talking. It's actually like very deep. So this is definitely not shallow. It's not child's play. So we're definitely going to have fun, interesting conversations, because this is who we are.
What would you say is your unraveling topic right now in your life in general?
Oh my God. I guess right now, firstly, let's define. I think it's important to define unravel to us, right? The name of the podcast is called Unravel. And we called it that because we believe that we are unraveling into who we are becoming, basically unlearning what we thought we knew, what we used to know, and relearning it. You know, the way God knows it, the way God sees it. And yeah, so right now I'm unraveling people's expectations. I'm unraveling what I thought like life was supposed to look like at this age for me. I'm unlearning so much. I'm unlearning lack.
Yo. Okay.
Listen, I'm unlearning, you know, people pleasing. There's so much, but I think, like, above all, like, I'm unlearning the world's way, my way, and just relearning what God says and learning that it's so simple.
Yeah.
One thing I'm realizing is that we've actually really complicated a lot of really simple things. Like, when you think about, like, what the world says and, you know, what you think you thought you knew, and then you look at what God actually says, you realize, oh, it actually didn't have to go that far. It was not that complicated. It's literally so simple. So I'm learning the simplicity of God and, you know, life as He intended it to be.
I'm unlearning fear.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
Like, I'm unlearning fearing to dream big.
Yeah.
I'm unlearning, like, you know how people say, don't trust too much. You're gullible. Why are you trusting too much? I have unlearning that.
Yeah.
One thing about me, right? Growing up, I used to be afraid to ask God for really big things because I was like, he wouldn't answer it.
Like he's so busy doing other lots of very big things.
It's just not possible. For other people, it's possible, but for me, it's not possible. And in recent events in my life, I'm unlearning that that's not true. The God I serve is alive and is active. That's what I'm learning. I'm unlearning the way Umjolo is, guys. Like, I'm unlearning. I'm unlearning the way, relationships are, like actual partner relationships. I am definitely unlearning that, and I think what you said, unlearning the concept of where I should be right now in my life.
Yeah.
And I think that, because also where you are, right? Obviously, you compare yourself to other people who are way further and be like, oh my gosh, I'm not there. And then there's some people who go to the extent of being like, no, but I'm better than Spanbadi. Like, it's not cute. It's very toxic, especially when you come to the realization that, guys, it's so different for everyone. And I think the thing is, it's cliche, but in as much as it's cliche, it's the truth. One thing I've realized is that the truth is so cliche, but we want to complicate it.
Reality is cliche. That's kind of like one thing about growing up. You always go to like, it is exactly as they said it sometimes.
Like you literally be like, yo, my parents ate.
Dude, one thing about that though, I am unlearning thinking, at some point, like, bruh, your parents are always right. Like, that's one thing I'm learning. Well, 90% of the time.
Especially those strict ones. Those strict ones.
Guys, mamilani abazali, okay? Because they're always right. At the end of the day, like there's so much I'm just like, nah, they ate though.
Yeah.
They really ate.
It's so true. And I think one of the things, like, learning to listen, guys. Because the thing is now, honestly, I'm stubborn. Like, I'm stubborn and that's the truth. But learning to listen, like when they say it's a skill, they were not playing. They literally, they hummed it up.
What this is therapy for me. Like, I am so excited to organize my thoughts. And there's so many. And like I said, they're so deep. And I'm excited to just unpack that and organize that and learn, like we mentioned, unlearn and relearn. So for me, Unravel is literal therapy. I hope y'all will join us, and at the end of the episode, you're gonna like feel a step closer to healing. What is it for you?
I think Unravel is a safe space. I think that usually when like I'm in conversations and I meet new people and all of that stuff, low-key deep down there's like that thing of, okay, to some extent you need to shape yourself to obviously fit into, for the conversation to make sense, and like here I can genuinely like just be myself. Like I'm a chill person. I'm very nonchalant about a lot of things, although I care deeply. Nonchalant in the sense that like I'm not in people's business like that. Like when people tell me, yo, Usman Bani did that, like I'm really not that interested.
True.
I feel like there's so many more things we could speak about. And I think I'm excited about that because sometimes you don't want to go too deep. Then abantu bazothi no, you're trauma bonding or trauma. Is it trauma dumping?
Trauma dumping. Like that's a topic we need to tackle someday because, like, y'all, what do you mean? How am I trauma dumping when you're my friend? Who am I supposed to dump?
Who am I supposed to speak to?
What am I, like, okay, so how do I know what to talk about and what not to talk about? Like, what do you mean?
If I had a traumatic day, what must happen now? You know?
Make it make sense. I feel like we live in a very sensitive generation. I'd like to say a little confused. Like, it's causing so much confusion how we always like to label everything. I think some things just don't need to be labeled. I think some things just don't need to be put in a box, and just need to be a little bit more flexible.
Because I feel like it's every social interaction, because of such sensitivities, a box. Like, you're trying not to push boundaries. You're trying to just not make the other person feel uncomfortable. I feel like if it's the first time I'm meeting you, like I get it. If it's the first time we're interacting, if you're not cool like that. But when we get to a certain point in our relationship, like you would expect some form of depth, you know? So I think that what this is just us speaking about things that like I would naturally just avoid because I just feel like the person will probably be uncomfortable to speak, you know?
Yeah.
Because now when I sit down with you, it's like, all right, tell me about your trauma. What's going on? You know, like honestly, what are your thoughts? You know, and all of that stuff. Like, so just exploring that. So like, it's like therapy, like what you said.
Yeah.
Just without boundaries, I guess.
Yeah.
And that you don't have to pay so much money for.
Listen, an affordable form of therapy.
An affordable form.
This is godly.
Oh, yeah.
This is godly. I think, like I mentioned before, that this is ministry for me. I feel like what this is literally almost like a calling, right? And at the end of the day, like we said, we are unlearning certain things and relearning them. And we're not relearning them in our own wisdom and capacity, but rather in what like Jesus says and like what Jesus intended and what he meant. And so this for us is sort of like us sort of like, you know, redirecting like our thoughts and like, you know, what reality is from just it being what we were given to actually what Christ gave us. So I am excited for us to sort of like really dive deep into what like the word says, and like how it applies to us, and how we interpreted it, like how we actually now begin to, you know, make it like a reality, like let the word be our reality, our truth, and exactly what we see and live.
And like, you know what from what you're just saying, right? What this genuinely is learning how to live life. Because hear me out, the word of God is a guide. You know, people make the analogy that it's like a manufacturer develops a manual, right? And basically God gave us that manual, right, for the thing to function the best it can, right? And so for me, it's learning how to live my life. I've literally come across entrepreneurs who speak about, oh no, I built my business based on principles from the Bible. You know, I've literally, you know, not healed, but grown in my mental health because of the word of God. Like there's so much healing and power and activeness in the word of God. Like, and to be quite honest, I've seen it in my personal life. And I see that if I could go this deep, and it's not even that deep, like I want to uncover it's how deep it is, you know, because I'm so tired. Like I feel like for the longest of time, right, my Christian identity has come second to me, you know. It's like I had this extremely busy day and all of that stuff. Then I remember at some point that God is there. Yeah. You know, and at some point I was that Christian who would literally only pray on a Sunday, you know. Sorry, lead worship on a Sunday, you know.
Not even pray. Just go out there and lead the worship.
Just go out there and lead the worship, you know. And it was my life for so long. And like I feel like that's why to a certain extent the church itself is being ridiculed because of lukewarm people like myself, the way I was.
Can I be honest?
What?
I'm so afraid of the word lukewarm. Like, it feels like an attack to me. And we don't even have the time to go deep into it. But like,
can I just say the last thing on
it? Say it.
Somebody said being lukewarm is not just for the people who are in the world and in the church. It's also for the people who are in the church, but are only close enough to God to make themselves feel better.
Whoa, that's deep though.
Like you literally, like think about it. The only time you confess and pray is when you really feel bad about what happened. But there's certain sin that you don't feel bad about. In fact, you justify it. Like, no, it's not that bad. You even go on social media to find people who agree with you so that you can go deeper in it.
I'm guilty. I'm very guilty.
You know, so like there's different layers to this thing, you know, and it's a thing where it's like, are you really saved if you're still holding on to your life? Because holding on to sin is holding on to your life.
True. Very true.
But anyway, that's a piece of what you'll be getting here.
Hey! But yeah, I think from everything we've said, everything we have touched on, you sort of like get the idea of what this is and what this is not. So we'd like to thank you so much for listening and watching.
See you on the next episode.
And we will unravel again on the next episode.
episode.
Bye.